Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at a very strong team with Swalot in the Halloween Cup. Swalot got access to the move Mudshot, which makes it a very cool core breaker for this current meta and in general a very good stay swap. We're going to have another poison type in the back here with the Toxapex, but in the lead we're going to run the Guzzlord, a Pokemon that's really underrated. If you don't have a Guzzlord, you can also use Swilus in the lead. This is basically the same, like Guzzlord is a little bit preferred, but if you don't have a Guzzlord, Swilus is fine. I know that I'm still going to get 20,000 comments about what can you use for certain Pokemon. If you don't have the Toxapex in the back, you can also use any like Quillfish, or also, of course, the Tentacruel, which has the same typing, but in the end of the day, I'm most likely gonna see it on the comment section there anyway. But here we're gonna encounter now the Azumarill. We were able to swap out here because we know that we're going to still have our Toxapex in the back, allowing us to hit an Ice Beam against the opponent's Sableye. And honestly, Swalot is one of the bulkiest Pokemon in this meta. As you're going to see here right now, the foul play is not really doing too much damage, as we can go for another Ice Beam. This is going to do some decent damage against the opponent, and I actually played a different variation of this team prior, also with Swilus in the lead, and I think a different Pokemon in the back, I forgot which it was. I think it was Nidoqueen, but I didn't like it too much, so I changed towards this one. And this worked out way better than the one before, so I highly recommend you this one, as you can just lock on the opponent here. Moving on, now we're going to encounter Scizor in the lead. Pretty bad lead for us, but we can swap out into our Swalot, which is only going to have resisted moves here against the opponent. This is like one of the issues with this Pokemon. I wish they had something different compared to like maybe Ice Beam or something, that can actually still hit Steel-type Pokemon. While your fast move is going to be able to hit Steel-type Pokemon, the rest is not really able to. And here we're still going to use a shield because I'm fairly certain I can outspeed the opponent, as we are generating energy like by 2 more per usage of fast move, which is really good for me. So I'm going to be able to outspeed them to the Sludge Bomb, and I should be able to get to the next one in time. At least that's what I thought, but I was not able to. So the opponent's still gonna get to a crunch, but I'm still fine. I can farm them down with my Guzzlord, getting some energy and gonna get some damage onto the Scizor, which is going to be amazing. Or I will get some shields here. Both of them I'm fine with. I'm gonna get the shield. And I can swap out now to my Toxapex, which will resist the fast move, as well as the most hard-hitting charge move from the opponent, which will be the Iron Head. But the opponent decides to swap out into their Jellicent, making this a very bad matchup for me. Of course, our lead would be able to deal with the opponent here, and usually you try to bait out the Jellicent with the face up of the Swalot, but here it didn't really work out too well. I decided to go for the weaker move to just try to get some time from the clock and still keeping the energy here that I need. But as you're going to see here, I will be able to just go ahead and swap out into my Guzzlord as the opponent decides to swap out into their Scizor. And we just have to hope and pray here as the opponent decides to go for a Night Slash. And I have no idea why. This is so weird to me, because they could just go for the Iron Head and knock me out. I don't have a shield, but they decide to go for 2 Night Slashes here, which is not going to be enough, as I can still go for the Brutal Swing, do a ton of damage against the Jellicent. They can farm me down, or can they? They're gonna go for the Surf here, which is even better for me. And like this, I can still reach a charge move with my with my Toxapex here, which is going to be amazing, and we can still win this game, which we shouldn't have been able to. Next one coming up, we're going to have our revenge against Scizor here. This is going to be an interesting one again, as we're going to now encounter the Jellicent against us. This is going to be a little bit of a difficult one. This time around, we're at least going to get this Pokemon out of the way, so we don't have to deal with it later on. But this is kind of how you kind of want to play this team. And even though we're going to get hardwalled here again, well, like in the game prior, we're going to still be able to do some decent damage against the opponent, while later on being able to align our Guzzlord against them. So here we're going to see the Shadow Ball coming through. I can still go for a Sludge Bomb, while all of those moves are going to be resisted. Swalot going to be able to just bait out the Pokemon that we don't want to face in the back. And as you can see here, I'm going to let this move go through, and it's fairly likely that they're going to be weak against my Toxapex in the back later on, because they already have 2 great, or like 1 great answer and 1 Pokemon that's kind of neutral against it. So I feel like I'm kind of safe here, so I can just go ahead and go for a Dragon Claw, trying to get the shield from the opponent, as they are most likely going to shield. Never mind, they're not going to shield this up, so that's really bad for me now, because the opponent is going to be able to get a ton of energy now. And if I went for the Brutal Swing, I would have nearly knocked them out, so that's kind of awkward, and they're going to run the Skuntank in the back. I don't think I can come back from this game here. It's going to be a really tough one. Let's see if we can actually still do something. I don't know how those games gonna go, to be fair. I played them last night, and I have no idea anymore how they went, so Here we're going to be able to shield up the crunch from the opponent, but I feel like this is going to still not really help me out too much as the opponent going to use their own shield. I tried to swap onto the crunch, works out fairly well I would say, but I don't know if it doesn't really help me as they're gonna go for the crunch and they're gonna get me low enough that they can farm me down. The debuff also doesn't really help me with that, and they can still go for another charge move here, and yes, there is not a lot that I can do at this point. The opponent can go for the crunch, they have a move stored here, and we can say good game to the opponent, but again, we got completely hardwalled. Let's see if the next game going to be a little bit better for that. We're going to have now the Charjabug in the lead, and this is going to be a fairly okayish lead. It's not going to be the greatest one either though, as they're going to have super effective damage with their own charge move, and we're going to be able to catch this move. You kind of want to use your Swalot fairly early on as a safe swap because this is an ABB line, so you kind of want to get out the answer for those poison type Pokemon. And here apparently it's going to be the Greninja, which of course would have been kind of nice against my Toxapex as well, but I can still get a shield advantage here, which is all I really want, so I'm kind of fine with how this kind of goes here. I can still maybe take a move, let's see, Hydro Cannon we can still take, and we would have got to another move if the opponent didn't throw here. So again, it's actually kind of nice how strong the Swalot is in just tanking those moves. Like, it has such an insane amount of bulk, it is wild. We can just take the Hydro Cannon here as well from the Greninja. This is the cool thing about Gusload. Gusload is able to completely lock down the Greninja. Everything is resisted other than Aerial Ace, which nobody is running. But sadly, we're going to encounter in the back here the opponent's Toxicroak, which is okay for us though, because we can still do some damage against their Charjabug, which is going to be fine. And as long as we're going to get them low and maybe get the final shield, I should be okay here. I can use another shield, and I think I can farm them all the way down now after this, which works out amazingly, as I can just go for my Dragon Claw, get the final shield from the opponent, and now I just have to outspeed them to a Brine, which I'm fairly certain I will be able to do, and the opponent decides to forfeit here. So, moving on, we're going to encounter the Greninja in the lead, which of course is exactly what we want to face. We're going to see the Nidoqueen is swapping in here, where we could go ahead and swap faster into the Swalot, but I didn't do this, which is my own mistake. I should have done this most likely. So I decided to stay in for a little bit. I'm going to let this move go through as well. Oh no, never mind. I'm actually going to shield this move up. It's going to be the Poison Fang. I can still get another shield from the opponent, and I could go for the full farm down. Greninja is honestly not the biggest issue for this team anyway, because my entire team can deal with it. But I'm going to use a shield here against the opponent, as this Earth Power would knock me out for sure. I'm going to still be forced to go for a charge move here because they're overfarmed by quite a bit. So this Sludge Bomb is coming through, going to get the knockout, and the opponent goes back into their Greninja, allowing us to go for some Sludge Bombs against them, and they're kind of forced to go early for their own charge moves, so I'm kind of fine with the scenario right now. Can go for the Sludge Bomb, do around like 60% of the opponent's health, even more, putting them into the deep red health and also putting them into a farm down range for my Toxapex in the back. So now it depends on what they're going to run in the back, which is going to be the Charjabug, and sadly, honestly, I should have stayed in. I should have stayed in and went for the charge move first, because like this, the opponent can knock me out, and I don't think that the Sludge Wave now does enough damage. I should have basically stayed in for a little bit longer, wait until they go for the discharge, and then swap out into my other Pokemon, because it would have allowed me to do more damage against them first. And so, I'm kind of throwing away the game here. At least that's what I thought, but I'm still going to be able to survive that one, and the opponent goes for a charge move, which is going to knock me out now. So this is going to be a good game. You thought. We can actually win this game, and we can move on now into the next game, which is going to be an interesting one. We're actually going to have the Toxapex in the lead again, which is going to be okay for me. I can stay in for a little bit, go for the Brutal Swing. They're never going to shield this move up anyway, so just rather go for the harder hitting move, which is going to be the Brutal Swing. And I can swap out into my Swalot. I don't care if they go for the charge move, which they do here. I'm totally happy with that. They don't do damage against me, especially if they go for the resisted Sludge Ray for whatever reason. Maybe they forgot about my typing. But again, Swalot is just tanking everything. It's so tanky. This team in general is a very bulky team. So for those people that like a little bit more of bulk, this is definitely a team for you. You might have saw in my teams yesterday, which were a little bit squishier. So here we're going to have a little bit more bulk to it. We're going to get the Brine onto us, and we can just go for the full farm down, getting out of this matchup with 2 charge moves stored, as well as switch alignment, which is amazing, as the opponent is going to run in the back here the Scrafty, which I'm totally down with. I can just go for the Sludge Bomb spam, and I can still align my Toxapex against the opponent, allowing me to kind of hardwall the opponent here as well, as I can just go for the Poison Jabs. The Poison Jab's going to farm them all the way down. I can let this move go through. A Foul Play doesn't really do damage, and we will see what they're going to have in the back. It's going to be the Drapion, which is amazing for us again. Like, this team is really strong here. It's honestly so nice. We're gonna be able to get the shield here, and it's going to be just a little bit of farm down, to be fair. I don't really care. Let's see what they're going to run. Do they run Sludge Bomb? They're gonna run Crunch here. Then they don't get the debuff, which is fine for me. I can let this move go through now, I think. But I actually still use a shield, just in case it is. But now we actually have it confirmed that they are not running the Sludge Bomb, which kind of wins us the game immediately here. As the opponent decides to stay in, we can just go for another charge move, get their final shield, and this is going to be it for this game. So good game there to the opponent's Crafty goes down. Moving on, we're going to encounter now a Dedenne in the lead. This is basically the worst possible lead there, and honestly, I most likely make a mistake here. I should have swapped out into my Toxapex instead, which is actually still a fairly solid save swap in this current meta, as this is our better answer for the Dedenne. We're definitely going to kind of want to keep our Swalot alive for the Dedenne, as we can just go ahead and go for the Ice Beam. This Ice Beam is going to be able to hit the opponent's Scizor, but again, we're not going to be able to get the switch advantage here. And I kinda need to keep the shields for my Toxapex. And I have to go into my Guzzlord here as well to keep basically my Toxapex healthy, as well as I'm going to try to just get some energy here, as the opponents deciding to swap in most likely to their Dedenne again. And if they have something good against me in the back, this game is kinda over, and it's going to be the Drapier. And it's going to be still kinda a close game, but it's going to be a tough one to still come back from. I have to hope that they don't debuff me immediately here, which they don't, which is kind of nice for me, so I can at least take some more crunches. But of course, like, the bigger issue is going to be later on the discharges from the Dedenne. I will be able to let this next move go through as well. Crunch is coming through, they don't get a debuff again, which is amazing for me. And maybe, just maybe, I should let the next moves go through as well, but I decide to most likely shield up the next crunch, just thinking that they most likely gonna put me into range where even Thunder Shock would be enough. So I decided to swap out, but of course Dedenne is coming in here and going to be able to hard wall my Guzzlord. I can still go for a Brutal Swing, and for whatever reason the opponent decides to go for a shield. And honestly, the cool thing about Guzzlord is you actually would learn also the move Sludge Bomb. And if there would be more fairy types that actually would be affected by it, I would maybe run this, but right now it doesn't really matter too much for it. But it would have been a cool one. Here, sadly, the opponent going to win by 1 HP, so that's kind of sad. But we can move on into the next game here with another horrible lead for us. We're going to have the Azumarill, as we will be able to now go ahead and go for the Sludge Bomb against the opponent. This is going to be fine, as we will just go ahead and let the next move go through. Doesn't matter what they're going to go for. They're going to go for the Ice Beam. We can even take another Ice Beam here, and we can just go for the Sludge Bomb spam. Next Sludge Bomb is coming through, going to do some decent damage, but no, it's going to actually get shielded as the opponent decides to swap into their Frosters, which is actually a decent counter for me, and in general, a very decent counter for the team. But it doesn't really matter too much in my opinion. I can just literally let this move go through, go into even my Guzzlord, try to farm him down, try to do some damage here. I don't really care too much. They're gonna get a shield from me again, but I'm going to be able to reach my Dragon Claw fairly fast, so I'm not too worried about anything here. I can go for the Dragon Claw here. That's going to do some decent damage against the opponent, as the gonna get the shield, which is kind of nice, and I can swap out into my Toxapex, which is going to absorb some energy, but I'm going to use a shield. As we know, the opponent is going to still have the Azumarill, but they're going to also have a Scizor. And this is amazing, because we just got so much energy against the opponent's Frostless that I will be able to outspeed the opponent to 2 brines, which is amazing and exactly what I need here. As the next one is coming through, gonna get the knockout against the opponent. And now it's just basically the opponent's Frostless, the opponent's Azumarill, and there's nothing in between us winning this game, as we can just go ahead and do so much damage with our Toxapex. The opponent can go for a charge move here, Play Rough. It's not gonna do too much damage. They're gonna swap out basically into the Frostless, but I can just swap out into my own Guzzlord. Going for the Brutal Swing should do a lot of damage actually against the opponent's Azumarill. It's single resisted, and as you can see, we're gonna put them into range with just 1 brine. That's all it takes to knock them out. They're gonna go for the Play Rough. I'm just gonna go for the full farm down. Oh no, actually, I'm gonna go for the brine and win this game here with this move. So good game to the opponent here. So we were able to come back from a very bad lead there. Let's take a look if we can come back from this one. Let's see what we're going to encounter. Charjabug lead. Again, this is kind of a neutral one. This time around, I think I played a little bit differently, which is most likely not as good for me, but still going to be fine. Let's see. We're going to be able to just use a shield into the Scizor, allowing me to go for a Dragon Claw against the opponent. This is going to get some damage onto them, which is nice, and I can swap now onto the second charge move here into my Swalot. Going to be the Scizor, not going to do any damage at all, and we're going to get out the Greninja. Maybe there could be a different Pokemon in the back that would be better to benefit from basically the Gastrodon here, but Toxapex definitely is still cool. But yeah, usually we're gonna get out the Greninja here with our Swalot, which is kind of nice. But yeah, we're going to be able to just go ahead and let this move go through. And again, Swalot is just doing its job. Like, you might think, oh my god, Swalot is not really doing anything. No, they do exactly what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to get out the answers for the Toxapex while still having some kind of coverage move with it, while still being bulky, while still being able to take some moves. So Swalot is actually doing exactly what it's supposed to do, and we're going to encounter one as well against us, which is just funny to be seen, because it's the only one that I have seen so far, and I played quite a lot of games already in this cup. We're going to be able to now swap out into our Toxapex, use a shield most likely. No, actually I can just go for a charge move against the Charjabug, which is amazing. As the opponent going to use a shield here, I'm going to use a shield as well, because Swalot, as you know from my moveset, has nothing to hit me, like literally nothing to hit me. So this is going to be a fairly neutral matchup for us. Start from is coming through, doesn't really do damage, I can just go for the brine, and I feel like the opponent most likely going to realize fairly soon that this is not going to be a game that they're going to be able to win, as we can just go for the brine spam. This is a very slow matchup here, but I will be able to just go ahead and go for the next charge move afterwards, as they try to still their best with a sludge bomb, but the brine here is all it takes to knock out the opponent's Swalot, so this is going to be a very good game to the opponent. Moving on, we're going to have here the Greninja in the back. This is going to be a very strong lead force. We're going to get out the Nidoqueen. Most likely I should start acting faster against Nidoqueen, as my Swalot of course has super effective damage with Ice Beam as well as the fast move. But here I can let this move go through, take the advantage, swap into my Swalot, and now I have also the Ice Beam available for the opponent's Nidoqueen, which you're going to not outspeed, so I decide to just go ahead and use a shield here onto the potential Earth Power, which was just a Poison Fang, so I can just go for the Ice Beam now, have some extra energy stored, and I still think I'm going to be able to survive a move from the Greninja, so I should be kind of fine. The opponent's Greninja is coming in, and I think I might even be able to still realign here or get like the final shield from the opponent if I can just reach the Sludge Bomb, which I think I should be able to. I think I still survive this one, and I do survive this one, allowing me to either knock them out here or basically get the shield advantage. Both of them I'm fine with. We're gonna get the shield advantage, they're gonna get a ton of energy advantage, but I will still swap into my Gastrodon, which can take the charge move from the opponent, and let's see what they're going to run in the back here. We can farm them all the way down. It's going to be their own Toxapex, so we can weaken them a little bit with our Gastrodon, and this is going to be game, as I can swap into my own one. The opponent going to realize there's nothing they can do, and we can win this final game of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Also check out the videos on the screen, and I see you then. Bye bye.